God bless you, Patriots, and welcome to Patriot News Broadcasting. It's good to see you guys. You know, I was thinking about all the naysayers we were talking about yesterday about Trump and the Antichrist and all that stuff. But when I look around at things, I really feel like Trump has changed the world for the better just by how he's changed his society, just by how different people are act, how they're trying to do better. They're following real moral values again. Something we really needed to get back to. It's really enlightened the people. That's a lot to work with, in my opinion. That alone, I would think, should exclude him from the idiocy of that kind of talk. But it is what it is. We're gonna take a look. I can't talk tonight. We're gonna take a look at what's going on around the world in the Patriot community. We kind of got ourselves what they're calling a little sky event tonight, right? On the left, that's the blood moon over Kenya. The blood moon lunar eclipse rises, one of 2025's most powerful celestial events charged with deep release and transformational energy. Make sure to spend some time outside under the moonlight if you can. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about the change in energy it's supposed to bring. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? It is interesting to see people calling it a sky event. This is India. Spiritually, a blood moon symbolizes endings, transformation, and the revelation of hidden truths, often associated with potent energy for shadow work and release. In different traditions, it's viewed as a sign of change, a time for self reflection, and the integration of light and dark aspects within oneself, or even as a foreboding sign of divine judgment or apocalyptic events. That's a wide range of things, huh? I was focused on the energy part of it. It seemed pretty interesting. But it's time things are really ramping up. I like this post. I know you're tired, Anons, to come so far. You are some of the best thinkers, researchers, investigators, and analysts the world has ever seen. In the coming days and weeks, you're going to need to put that Anon hat back on and jump back onto this full send. Full send, full tilt. Are you guys ready to put your cowboy boots back on? Did you ever take them off, really? I know you're sitting there eating popcorn in your cowboy boots right now. The LAPD has decided it's discontinuing its protection for former Vice President Kamala Harris after heavy criticism within its own ranks that officers are being diverted from crime suppression. People didn't like that, and that did not last very long.
Just in, Los Angeles police are no longer providing protection for former Vice President Kamala Harris. Just days ago, President Trump ordered her Secret Service protection be pulled. California Highway Patrol stepped in along with specialized units from the LAPD's Metropolitan Division. In a statement, LA Mayor Karen Bass said the LAPD's role was always meant to be temporary. Before leaving office, former President Biden extended Harris's protection for 18 months rather than the usual 6 months for a vice president. President Trump then canceled that order.
It's amazing how temporary that was. That video from yesterday was surprising. How many cops did they say guard Brandon Johnson in Chicago? I could have sworn they said 180. Maybe I heard that wrong, but while we're looking at the news, I did have to show you the coolest storm cloud I've ever seen that they showed over Istanbul. Come on, is that not cool? It's a pretty wild looking cloud, honestly, but maybe that's normal thing in those storms in the Mid-East. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has decided to step down. I didn't realize there had been two other presidents between him and Shinzo Abe, who was murdered back. Oh God, what year was it? 2020. I don't remember. Either way, he cited reasons to do with splitting the party, I believe.
Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has moments ago said he is resigning. Ishiba is holding a news conference explaining the decision right now. Public broadcaster 8 NHK says the decision to step down comes as Ishiba works to avoid a split within the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. The LDP has lost its majority in elections from both houses of parliament since Ishiba took power. Lawmakers are scheduled to vote on Monday on whether to hold an extraordinary leadership election. CNN.
Shigeru Ishiba. This is one of those nights where I'm going to speak better Japanese than English. You know, it just kind of happens. Hey, the mayor in London's kind of weird, dude. Sadiq Khan said the quiet part out loud. Yeah, basically he did. That he's prioritizing Muslims over anybody. And I know I gave him a hard time in the intro today, but I'm learning some disturbing things.
The other big issue faced in London, is particularly, Londoners of Islamic faith, is the issue of housing. And so we need to build far more homes in our city because, often people from minority communities want to live near a mosque, near halal food, near places where there are other people like them. So they for a variety of obvious reasons. And they're priced out because there's not enough houses. So we're going to build at least 40,000 council homes.
Dear government, I want a house. And I want it to be close to my church. No. Maybe the weed store. No. I need a pool. I need a house with a pool. Thank you. I like the delta from yesterday, the 1 in a billion coincidence. I like the 1 in a billion probably, I don't know what the odds were, chance of winning the Powerball, yet there were two winners. So the whole Powerball thing's over. It seems like there's always a winner from Missouri.
That near record $1.8 billion jackpot will not be growing for Monday's Powerball drawing. 2 tickets matched all 5 numbers, and the Powerball, neither of them were in California.
But there are still some lucky winners in the Golden State who matched 5 numbers. Those tickets were purchased in Tehachapi and Dublin and are worth $500,000. I'm sorry, $1.5 million, excuse me.
Yeah, that jackpot worth $1.8 billion remains the second largest prize in U.S. lottery history. The big winning tickets were sold in Missouri and Texas. Those winning numbers right there on your screen: 11, 23, 44, 61, 62 for some consecutive numbers. And the Powerball was 17.
So many people went online to get the numbers tonight that the Powerball website even crashed. And this is video of the frenzy today at Show's Service Center in Altadena, where a ticket worth more than $2 billion was sold.
I like that golden 17 right there at the very end of the Powerball. It was all meant to be. All the cops in town are headed somewhere. You guys remember that time that Epstein won the lotto? This is a weird story. He hit the jackpot in Oklahoma.
Did you know in 2008, a day after Epstein's arrest, on July 1st, Zorro Trust, owned by him, claimed a winning Powerball ticket and received $29.3 million after taxes. The original ticket would have paid $85 million, but the winner decided to take the lump sum of $29.3 million. Another interesting thing about this event is that the original draw was delayed because there was a quote-unquote computer glitch, and Zorro Trust ended up taking home the $29.3 million. Zorro Trust is closely connected and thought to be owned by Jeffrey Epstein himself.
Interesting, huh? Does that mean he like hacked the lotto system in Oklahoma? Pretty odd, huh? But you didn't know about it. I'd never heard that story. News to me. And Russian drones were able to break through one of the strongest zones in Ukrainian air defense right near the Zelensky residence. Tons and tons of drones, hundreds of drones, yet the Russians are claiming they were not involved. It wasn't them. They had nothing to do with it. So, what does that mean?
The barrage of drones and missiles fired by Russia has hit several buildings across Ukraine, including for the first time the government building in Kyiv. This started a fire on the roof and top floors, put out by firefighters. The government's first reaction after being targeted: buildings can be restored, but lives lost cannot be brought back. Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko called on the international community to act against Russia.
We need to strengthen sanction pressure, primarily against Russian oil and gas. New restrictions are needed to hit the Kremlin's military machine. Most importantly, Ukraine needs weapons.
Russia's attack hit mainly residential buildings across the Ukrainian capital.
The two city districts of Donetsky and Svi.
The question again, though, is, was it Russian attacks? And if it wasn't Russian attacks, who was it? Is Ukraine doing false flags against themselves? Either way, Russia's denying any involvement in those attacks. So I noticed that helicopter go over with a bucket of water to drop on the roof that was on fire. Almost looked like they were prepared, didn't it? I don't know. The raid yesterday or the other day in Georgia at the Hyundai plant, all the people, or at least the ones, the hundreds of them that were from Seoul in South Korea, they are getting flown back to South Korea.
We have some more breaking news to touch on this Sunday. According to the Associated Press, more than 300 South Korean workers who were detained following a massive immigration raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia will be released and brought home. That's according to the South Korean government, who made that announcement on Sunday. Presidential Chief of Staff there said that South Korea and the U.S. had finalized negotiations on the workers' release. He said South Korea...
Anyone in Georgia need a job? The Hyundai plant's probably got some openings. Maybe they'll hire some Americans this time. Hurricane Kiko, which we thought was kind of going nowhere, seems to be headed right towards the Hawaiian Islands now, suddenly.
All right, bringing you some live looks. This is out of Hawaii, where we are tracking out Hurricane Kiko. It's barreling west, getting closer and closer to the Hawaiian Islands, where impacts could be felt as early as today. And that's where we find our own Michael Estime reporting live from Hilo. Now, Michael, we've been, talking about Kiko. It's a Category 3 right now with the latest updates. At one point, Category 4, intense storm. But it's encountering the cooler waters. And that's the expectation, is rapid weakening due to the cool waters and the excess wind shear. How do you think this is going to be impacting the forecast for Hawaii? Do you think they could still gather a hurricane by the time it travels to the north, or are we talking tropical storm here?
Yeah, Haley, I think that's a wonderful question. And what I think is really interesting as well, we did a deep dive on this the day before yesterday, if you were joining us on Fox Weather, on what's called an annular hurricane, where basically it looks like a big giant donut, right? Not necessarily like a Cinnabon swirl. So this thing is highly concentrated. There's a ring of really powerful thunderstorms right around the center of circulation. The problem, Haley, with that is the fact that that actually tends to lead to a stronger storm that can hang on to that intensity for longer periods of time. It's one of the reasons why it's fluctuated between a Cat 3 and a Cat 4. And then to your point, it will be moving into cooler waters, and that should help to kind of dampen this thing a little bit. But I'm a little concerned about how rapid this thing actually does begin to decelerate and kind of lean off the gas pedal.
That's all Hawaii needs is a hurricane. when I see that hurricane, I see a figure skater that's tucked its knees in. It is pretty strong around the core there. I don't know. Hawaii will probably get something or other out of that, but we shall see. Oh, check this out. Somebody put this up. Think mirror, it's going to be biblical. Jerusalem, Chicago, Jerusalem, Chicago. Is Gaza City being cleaned out at the same time Chicago's about to be cleaned out? I don't know. Either way, as the Israelis are distracted, the Houthis took it upon themselves to attack the airport again.
Yemen's Houthi rebels have struck Israel. A drone launched from Houthi-controlled territory hit the arrivals hall of Ramon Airport in southern Israel early on Sunday. The attack injured 2 civilians and briefly halted all operations at the airport.
When the airport gets hit by rockets, what do? And, the situation in Gaza gets worse and worse. What's interesting this time, before the attack even happened there in that part of Gaza City, Israel issued a warning.
انا ما بعرفش النظام 105 ولا 107 بخش كل غزه عم يخش يا راجل يقرف لحاله
افضل الى ذلك تجرى ما طبيه افضل للسكان افضل
يا عمي قريت المنشور.
Seems like they're at least trying to clean out the area, giving the people a fair chance. Yeah, I suppose you take the risk of your Hamas people getting flushed out too, but I don't know. At this point, it doesn't look like there's much left of the place. They did attack residential areas as reported after that. Looks more like a construction site at this point. There's nothing left. The aftermath. Imagine your kids having to grow up in that. Good Lord. It's a disaster either way. And the international community is not very happy about it. Particularly in London, they're going ape shit about it. It got chaotic there.
Picked up and bundled into vans. In Parliament Square, these peaceful protesters were arrested on terrorism charges, one after the other.
There's a genocide going on and the international community is doing nothing. This government is complicit in that process, and yet they're the people walking free and arresting people here who are opposed to genocide.
More than 425 arrests were made on Saturday as people protested the Palestine Action Ban. Despite only using non-violent civil disobedience tactics, the pro-Palestinian group was designated as a terrorist organization in July 2025 after some of its members sprayed red paint over military aircraft.
Yeah, it was up to 900 by Sunday, and then there's footage from Brussels. Protests in protests in Europe are quite lively. There was a helicopter crash in rural Minnesota that I wanted to look at.
A deadly helicopter crash just south of Minneapolis near the Lakeville airport on this Saturday afternoon. No word yet on the exact number of people killed in the crash. This from the Lakeville Police Department. Saturday, 2:45 p.m., they responded to a report of a helicopter crash in the area west of Air Lake Airport. Officers located the downed aircraft west of Highview Avenue near 219th Street West. Responding officers, along with members of the Lakeville Fire Department, determined there did not appear to be any survivors of the crash. The crash site is located in a non-residential, non-commercial area, and there is no indication of any impacted individuals beyond those on board the aircraft. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board have been notified and will be responding to the scene. Those agencies will lead the investigation. Information regarding the cause of the crash, details about the aircraft, and number of occupants and other related information will be released by...
So I guess they don't know yet. I'm always curious when I see that whose helicopter it was, who was on board, that type of thing. Looks like that's where it crashed. So, I suppose we'll find out that information in the coming days. Either way, jury selection begins tomorrow with Ryan Ruth, the would-be Trump assassin.
On the Treasure Coast, the stage is set for jury selection in the federal trial of the man charged with trying to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald Trump last September at his West Palm Beach golf club. Ryan Ruth faces the federal charges including attempted assassination, assaulting a federal officer, and firearms violations. Our investigative reporter Terry Parker has been covering this case since the beginning last September.
She is in Fort Pierce with a look at some of the evidence we can expect to see at trial starting Monday.
Right, Ryan Ruth will be representing himself when jury selection begins here at the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce. And I just got a copy of his exhibit list, and it includes some very unusual items. Ruth, acting as his own attorney, wanted 24 of his own witnesses, including professors, activists, even President Trump himself. The judge denied most of those requests, calling them irrelevant, cumulative, or absurd, like the woman Ruth claimed could testify about his gentleness during a sexual encounter. He also has an exhibit list of items such as his Eagle Scout commendations, 3D models of a skate park he was involved with, and pictures of himself in the newspaper over the years. And there's Ruth's handwritten Dear World letter.
I'm sorry I tried to kill the president. Before that, I was a really good citizen. This should be an interesting trial. So as you saw in the intro, there were some subsea cables cut in the Red Sea. Multiple international cables were cut. I wanted to look at that just for a minute.
Multiple undersea fiber optic cables in the Red Sea have been damaged, triggering significant service disruptions for Microsoft's Azure cloud platform and slowing global internet traffic. In a status update, Microsoft said Azure users could experience higher latency, especially for traffic moving between Asia and Europe. The company in a statement mentioned undersea fiber cuts can take time to repair. As such, we will continuously monitor, rebalance, and optimize routing to reduce customer impact in the meantime. Rerouting data traffic has eased some of the pressure, but users are still facing delays and slower than usual connections. The Red Sea is one of the world's most critical arteries for internet connectivity. Nearly 17% of global traffic flows through subsea cables laid in its shallow waters.
You hear that? 17%.
Linking Europe and Asia. While Microsoft did not specify how the subsea cables were damaged, the firm explained that its engineering teams have been actively working to reroute traffic and minimize delays.
So who done it? You don't just scuba dive on down there and snip the cables. Pretty interesting, huh? One of the busiest internet cables under the seas. Pretty wild, huh? Satellites? Yeah, satellites don't really do dick, I don't think, Tim. Last I saw, satellites only handled a very small percentage of any traffic like that. So I saw that at some point over the weekend there was a shelter-in-place order issued in Newburgh, Indiana, southern Indiana, some kind of chemical fire. Just wanted to look at that for a quick second.
Now to a massive chemical fire that's been burning for hours in southern Indiana. Right now, people are being told to stay in their homes and keep their windows and doors closed. Take a look at this video. This is in Newburgh, just outside of Evansville. You can see that huge column of thick smoke pouring out of that building. And the Warwick County Sheriff says it's spewing potentially hazardous chemicals. The fire started around 3:45 this afternoon. Firefighters say it is still burning nearly 8 hours later. Firefighters confirm that building houses PBTT. That's a manufacturer in Newburgh. There are shelter-in-place orders right now for neighbors in Warwick County because of potential chemicals in the air, and that just got extended west because of high winds. Some neighbors heard explosions when the fire started.
Interesting. It's quite a fire. That was way down there in Indiana. Chemical fire. That was fun. I wanted to show you this. Of course, Texas officially banned China and other foreign adversaries from owning farmland in the state. Check out how much farmland China owns around the country. Take a look at your area. I see just north of me, the counties, both of them north of me, are in the red. That means it's China-owned farmland. Not good. Pretty wild, isn't it? Very close to the Air Force bases as well. Quite concerning. So you can see why Texas is concerned and why all of our states ought to be concerned. Elon Musk posted "Follow the White Rabbit" yesterday. I still think that's the Clintons or something to do with the Clintons and Saudi Arabia. Nayib Bukele, the El Salvadorian president, posts, "You think the speed of change is incredible? You probably haven't noticed the acceleration, but brace yourselves." That's a pretty wild post, huh? You can see the MAGA spirits flowing around the globe. Oh yeah. Somebody connected it to the Venezuelan stuff. I imagine that something's going to happen down in that area, but we'll see. I thought they already had Maduro. Patel says the FBI is putting all cartels on notice. We're not playing defense. We're eliminating drug and cartel trafficking at the source. With Los Choneros and Los Lobos now designated as foreign terrorist organizations, their drug money pipelines are drying up. If you poison our communities, the FBI will find you and we will end your criminal empire. Woo! Kash Patel on the offense. I like it. And Trump posted this particular post, the Golden Age post, with the visible 64 there in the background. Let's see if I can read this. President Trump's truth is a meme of him standing on the stage at a rally with the Golden Age as the header and a timestamp, 7:37, 1937 military time, blah, blah, blah. Fellow patriots and being advised actions have created accelerated counteractions. We have not yet ascertained the scope of the attack. Watch the news outlets. POTUS Twitter takedown was not by accident. Should the lights go out, please know we are in control. Do not panic. We are prepared and assets are in place. God bless. I must go for good at this point. Witch hunt, no deals. There's a couple posts there. So, the witches have become the hunted and the witch hunt is on. No deals. The only question I have is this statement. God bless. I must go for good at this point. Something major about to happen to President Trump. I hope not. I hope not either. But CBS is admitting defeat. It will stop editing on-air interviews after misleading Kristi Noem clip. Kristi Noem wasn't very happy about.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now calling out CBS News. She is accusing the network of editing a recent interview to, quote, whitewash the truth about alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris, joining us. So the allegations here, Jeff, stem from Noem's interview on Face the Nation. That was on Sunday. Tell us more about her claims.
So during her interview this weekend, Noem was asked why the Trump administration was working to deport Abrego Garcia instead of forcing him to face charges in the United States. She says CBS intentionally edited the interview in a certain way that covers up the truth. Now, in the clip that aired, Noem said that prosecution decisions are always made by the DOJ and Attorney General Pam Bondi's department. So they will let them do that, although Abrego Garcia does have criminal charges pending. Adding, they will do everything they can to make sure he doesn't walk free in the U.S. Noem says they edited out the rest of her answer there, so she took to X to share a video of her uncut response.
The one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater.
In response to these allegations, a spokesperson for CBS writing here, quote, Secretary Noem's Face the Nation interview was edited for time and met all CBS News standards. The entire interview is publicly available on YouTube, and the full transcript was posted earlier this morning on CBSNews.com. Now, Noem's claims aren't the first time CBS has faced accusations of editing critical rhetoric out of...
Yeah, they tend to do that, you know. That's what they do. But yeah, we got to keep the war on the media going. It's getting nasty. Like this, Charlie Kirk, but Jesus defeated death so you can live. And Ian Carroll said, and you've decided your life, or you've dedicated your life to serving the people who killed him. Stuff like that's really ignorant. Stupid Ian Carroll. It was stupid. I think it's the anniversary of the Q Delta post. You know, when you put a circle around the all the people in the picture, you get the Q team. Is it Q team? Could be. I don't know. You know, look at a couple things real quick to do with Gavin Newsom. Like, number one, is he on drugs
right now? I feel it's interesting. I've been on a journey like most people, feeling great, feeling stressed, feeling doubtful. The last 2 days, I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe the dust settling after Madison Square Garden. Seen how that went, kind of a roller coaster. But something's happened the last few days, and I'm telling you, that Des Moines Register poll, I mean, I don't know. I don't expect Iowa necessarily going in the blue column.
Yeah, he's definitely on drugs, but that's to be expected. He says he's putting together a task force trying to clean up the homeless encampments. Probably, you know, try and prevent the National Guard from coming to L.A. It's probably not going to happen. He's done this a few times. 2019 set aside $24 billion. He himself did it in 2023, $750 million to build tiny homes, and I don't believe any of that's been done.
I'm in downtown LA, Skid Row, and I want to point out a few things that's gone on here in the past few years. In 2023, Gavin Newsom set aside $750 million to build tiny homes for people just like this that are surrounding by me. Somehow that money's gone. In 2019, they set aside $24 billion to go towards the homeless. Somehow that money's gone. It's unaccounted for. I want to talk about a few politicians from here. One is Nancy Pelosi. She's been serving these people since 2007. Her net worth is over $120 million. Another person here, Maxine Waters, she's been serving the people here in California since 1990. Her net worth is over $10 million. And Gavin Newsom, who knows what his net worth is, but we know he is building a $9 million home in San Francisco, California. Their leaders, the leaders of California, they failed these people here in Los Angeles. And
yeah, they don't serve the people. They serve themselves. Did Rosie O'Donnell admit guilt in her recent interview? Listen to what she says here. It's odd.
Feel in a way that he's winning by you leaving the country?
Well, I know that my personal mental health comes first. And when he was in the last time, I was not doing well. And I have a child that is special needs and that needs me to be fully cognizant, happy, not depressed, and not overwhelmed. So I didn't have a choice. I was not one of those celebrities who said, if he gets in, I'm leaving, and then didn't leave. I never said I was going to leave because I never imagined having to. I knew I could not take being in America, watching him ruin everything that we had worked so hard for as a nation to get freedom for everyone and to get something close to equality, although we never really made it there, for women, for minorities, for black and brown people. We haven't done it. And the promise of America is great, and I lived the American dream, and I believe in my country, and I want the best for it. And what's happening now is terrifying as democracy dies, and we all watch.
He's going to revoke your citizenship, I read the other day.
That's what he said, but that's against the Constitution as of now. But as we know, he has pawns in the Supreme Court. And you never know what he'd be able to do, right? So I have not been back since arriving here in January. I would like to go back and see my older children and do all of those things when it's safe. And we have people there in the United States who are advising me on what would be right and healthy and what would be safe for myself and my family. And I'm going to listen to those experts.
It is a little bit odd that just she was the only one that left, that she left her family. I don't know. It doesn't seem like you would just leave your kids behind while you go jumping over the ocean. Seems like people think she's running from something or other. What do you guys think it might be? Oh, in Chicago, the Mexican parade in the Pilsen community was pretty nil for fear of ICE coming out. I've actually been there before for high school. Went there for our Spanish class.
This year's Pilsen Mexican Independence Day Parade not only looks but feels different. A lot of the community and their supporters have concern over the administration's continued immigration enforcement. Despite anticipated stepped-up immigration enforcement activities in the Chicago area, some people turned out in the city's Pilsen neighborhood for this year's Mexican Independence Day Parade.
I just think we still need to be out here and show that we're not scared to still show our heritage and we're proud people and that we're not scared of anything that's going on. And I appreciate everybody that comes out despite of what's going on.
For a 24th time, the annual procession headed across 18th Street at noon as heightened security concerns loomed following the Trump administration's threats to deploy National Guard troops and ICE agents to the city.
I'm against goons and masked people.
And yet it doesn't look like there were any there, does it? They trumped themselves, didn't they? Trump issued a final warning to Hamas, a final deal offer, to which they've said they're ready to immediately negotiate after the new offer. Trump said everyone wants the hostages home. Everyone wants this war to end. The Israelis have accepted my terms. It is time for Hamas to accept as well. I've warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting. This is my last warning. There will not be another one. Yep. I think he wants some, I don't know, that other post translated like what, beg immediately, something like that. It's interesting.
US President Donald Trump has issued a last warning to Hamas to accept a deal to release hostages from Gaza. In a message on Truth Social this morning, he said, the Israelis have accepted my terms. It's time for Hamas to accept as well. I've warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting. This is my last warning. There will not be another one.
Yeah. I imagine he's probably serious about that. This story was ridiculously horrible. 5 Pennsylvania children rescued from a dungeon inside their own home. Sadly, it's not the first time these types of things happen.
Parents from Fayette County are now in jail after police say they had their 5 children locked in a room in deplorable conditions most of the day and night. Police say you locked your kids in what's described as a dungeon. Is that true? 65-year-old James Call and 41-year-old Carly Call are now charged with endangering the welfare of children, aggravated assault, and other charges. Their kids ranging in ages 5 through 14. The Fayette County District Attorney says one child has severe developmental disabilities. On August 8th, police say a relative informed authorities of the deplorable conditions at a home in the 600 block of Willis Avenue in Redstone Township. Police also say the father locked the children in a bedroom with video cameras hardwired to the father's room. Police also found a replica pistol, drugs, and the district attorney says a stun gun was used on one of the children.
Yeah, it sounds about like a dungeon, huh? Wow. I shouldn't even bother asking, huh? This is interesting. Multiple large so-called MAGA accounts were caught taking money to spread foreign propaganda and attack Trump for tariffing India. Possible criminal violation under FARA. Posts are being deleted in real time. And this accuses Gunther Eagleman, Chuck Castillo, Election Wizard, American AF, DC Drano. I know some of them have been talking about their accounts going down, being down. I can't say whether any of this is true or not, or if it's alleged, what the situation is there. But it tells you something. They're keeping an eye. If people think they're going to dick around, it's going to come back to haunt you. People are keeping a good eye out what's going on. We will find out here in the future. This is kind of my WTF video. This is terrible, and it frustrates me in a situation where it's already hard enough to get hired for people. Check this out.
I rejected a Trump supporter as a potential hire after reviewing their social media. And before anyone comes for me in Texas, political affiliation is not a protected class.
This gets better. The irony of this man's entire video and the hypocrisy, the level of not understanding critical thought, it's out of bounds. Watch this guy.
And do what you can. Refuse to hire them if it's legal where you are. Refuse them service if you can. And if you're able to. Whatever it takes to say that we're not supporting hate. We will not normalize
So the way that you don't normalize oppression and that you don't normalize hate is by practicing hate and oppression. That explains all the violence that they've been doing.
It's ridiculous. I mean, on the other hand, you got to be careful with you got to watch your social media accounts anyway. Employers will look at that stuff. Sadly, it happens a lot. And Democratic Mayor of Garfield, New Jersey, has officially switched his party affiliation to Republican. And let's see. There's something else I wanted to look at real quick.